This video walks you through the solution to trade of the day for October the 10th. For that trade of the day exercise, you were given a completed financial model with an income statement, a balance sheet, free cash flow calculation, and then a DCF to get the value of the firm. It basically is exercise 2 from the homework, and I added 2 lines to the bottom, shares outstanding and share price, just to stay in keeping with our trade of the day models. So what you were told is the model is straight from exercise 2 with the additional information. And the way the model is written in exercise 2, it assumes 10% growth forever. We'll look at that in a moment. And you'll recall that our speaker, Steve Serrano from Tulsa, said that any firm that grows at 10% forever will take over the world. And so what we want to do in this exercise is come up with a more realistic growth rate. In fact, I'm asking you to use, the second section used 2%. I believe the first section used 2.5% for growth after the forecast period. Now, what do I mean by the forecast period? Recall from exam 1 this slide in slides September 17. Throughout the module 1, we talked about an historical period, an explicit forecast period, and a terminal value. We used the historical period to get the forecast for a few years, and then after a few years we just lumped everything else into this bucket called terminal value. So apply that concept to this problem. I'm saying go ahead and grow at 10% through the forecast period, but after that, for the terminal value, use the 2% free cash flow growth. And you may even recall that we talked in class about, does our cash flow ever really grow at that 10% growth rate? The 10% growth rate applies to sales, and we know that the sales grow at 10%, but let's see what the cash flow actually grows at. Free cash flow of the firm from year 1 to year 2, let's say, year 2 over year 1 minus 1 was just less than 7%. In fact, in every year of our forecast period, it was less than 7%. So to come down here to terminal value, and let's use formulas and precedents, and use 10% for a growth rate in terminal value is far too optimistic. So we need to fix this terminal value to, instead of grow at 10%, we want to grow at, in this case, 2%. So let's put 2%, call that an input. And so now the trick is to use cell G55 instead of cell B2 for the growth rate. You may ask, do we need to do it in both places? There was a formula on the board during trade of the day that you'll also be given during the quiz and during the exam for the terminal value at the end of your forecast period. And the way we're doing this in module 2 is to take that final free cash flow times 1 plus the growth rate, divide that by WACC minus the growth rate. So that's what this formula is doing, but it's using 10% for the growth rate. So we just need to replace B2 with G55, and we need to do that in both places. When we do that, our new share price is 87 cents if we use the 2% perpetual growth rate, or I think the first section used 2.5 and should have gotten about 89 cents. That's trade of the day, October 10.